And if they're holding water, sometimes what they'll do is they'll sort of push their fingers into their shin. So I could do that this morning and it leaves like a little dent.
As dedicated and as disciplined as Sam is, he's fallen prey to the exact same thing that many people do following a competition: the post-show binge. Coach Greg, in today's video, what's next for Sam Sulek? I'm going to talk about when will be his next competition, what is he going to do in order to try to win that competition, the bulk that's already began, and we're going to see how is Sam going to do when he competes next year.
It's on me even since last year. So really my biggest pressure coming into that first qualifying show was whether or not I'd actually be able to make weight, because I had to dry out all the way to 217, and just 5 months ago I was 270, so I wasn't exactly certain that was even going to happen.
Previously, Sam had bulked to 270 pounds and he cut all the way down to 217. Now, because of that bulk, of which I do in fact believe it was a mistake, he had to do more hours on the bike than perhaps everyone in the world, so Coach Greg.
You can't speed up losing a pound of body fat or anything else. I can say with certainty nobody's done more hours on this cardio bike in the last few months than I have.
And so Sam, a huge proponent of cardio, but listen, it's too much. I do believe that Sam has been sacrificing muscle. After all, he did say he never gained any muscle while dieting for perhaps 4 or 5 months for this competition. He's leaving some of his gains on the table. He needs to stay leaner in the off season. I was talking to Urs Kalisensky. Urs had the pose down with Sam Sulek before starting this competition. Remember Urs? Show the legs.
Show the legs, bro.
Show the legs. I'll leave these pants off.
Show the legs.
Urs was demanding. And Urs, in fact, aided Sam Sulek throughout this competition. Sam was sending photos to Urs. Urs was saying, Sam, you gotta get leaner. And so between that and Jay Cutler saying his conditioning was decent.
Your condition's decent. Okay, good.
Sam made up for it by doing hours and hours and hours of biking every single day. And so Sam, he needs to put on 10 pounds of muscle. When you compete in men's classic physique in the amateurs and you turn professional, they allow you to weigh in 10 pounds heavier. Sam, who's not blessed with the perfect shape, a guy like Chris Bumstead, he has to make up for it with mind-blowing size and conditioning. Case in point, Logan Franklin. Logan Franklin was never predicted to be a Mr. Olympia or Arnold Classic champion, but he came close. He got second. And how did he do that? By maximizing his frame, putting on more muscle and bringing home the conditioning. And so Sam, he has to do the same. He needs those 10 extra pounds of muscle. And if he bulks to, for example, 280 pounds and has to drop down all the way to 227, he's going to lose some of that size. And trust me, when you stay in better condition in the off season, the cuts, they poke through that much more come showtime. When you get really big, the skin, it begins to stretch. Now remember, Sam is a young man. He's only 23. But as you get older, it's harder to show that crazy conditioning as you get older.
I can say one thing with 100% certainty. I've been clean from Wendy's spicy chicken sandwiches for about 6 months. And, well, like it or not, it's time to freaking relapse.
Following a competition, many people, they go off the rails. We've seen Larry Wheels. He gained 53 pounds in only 5 days. I was talking to Urs Kalisensky. He's already bulked up to 270. But bro is still lean. Just a bit over 11% body fat. But for most people, you have to keep your bulk in check. Hopefully Sam doesn't consume too many calories. If you start seeing your weight going up by 20, even 30 pounds, is too much. You have to slow it down.
The ratio of more junkish style food to regular, like conventional bodybuilding style food is getting more like 70%, 30%. And I did notice that putting on weight ended up being a little bit easier.
And so Sam has learned on previous bulks that it's better to eat more cleaner foods, perhaps a 70-30 ratio. Mostly good healthy foods, but a little bit of junk just to have some balance. I do believe gone are the days where it's going to be about burgers, donuts, cereal, and chocolate milk. He's going to still have some of that stuff, but just to a lesser amount.
I'm going to be a bit more thoughtful with the actual sources, just because, I mean, the simpler and plainer the foods, the easier it ends up being for me to actually get a lot of them into my system, through my system.
And so you see, when I criticized Sam, I wasn't doing it to hate him. I was doing it because I knew better. Remember, I've already gone through this. I competed 59 times. I know the kinds of foods you should be eating.
As soon as I finish this, I can almost guarantee I'm going to instantly pass out. And assuming I end up feeling good tomorrow, which actually with the amount of...
Notice the hiccups continuously. I've seen this in several videos. He perhaps is suffering from some indigestion. I do believe it's beneficial for him to not bulk to 280 pounds. You know a man that I do believe we can respect? Perhaps we could call him the GOAT. Sebum, Chris Bumstead. In his heaviest off-season, remember, he's 2 inches taller than Sam. He would get up to what? 260 pounds. Sebum's weight category is 242. It's 15 pounds heavier than Sam. And so does Sam really need to bulk up 15 pounds heavier than Sebum if he has to compete 15 pounds lighter?
And if they're holding water, sometimes what they'll do is they'll sort of push their fingers into their shin a little bit, because there's this kind of it's like a good little indicator of if you're really holding a lot of water. So I could do that this morning and it leaves like a little dent.
As dedicated and as disciplined as Sam is, he's fallen prey to the exact same thing that many people do following a competition. The post-show binge. Very hard to control. You might think, oh, I'll just do it for one meal after the show. That leads into the next morning, into the evening, and before you know it, you're up 50 pounds. You got to be careful. This swelling, it's not healthy. It's in fact dangerous, and so please be careful.
Plus a little bit of vanilla bean ice cream.
And by a little bit, he likely means the entire container.
Honestly, I can feel that my hands are a little more swollen. Not crazy, not like edema level or anything, but a little bit more than normal. So it's like if I wore a ring, it might not fit.
If your ring finger size has changed and you push on your skin and it's leaving a severe indent, that is edema. It's not just, a little bit of swelling. That is a lot. And so again, please be careful in your refeeds.
I was kind of walking through the crowd incognito to make it backstage for one of the panel interviews that I did yesterday, and I saw Shan's bra. Freaking huge.
And so has Shan's bra been taking some Turk Builder Max in secret? Sam Sulek is bumping into Shan's bra saying how huge he is. Shan, are you on Turk Builder Max?
Because the level of leanness and dryness I brought for my show, for that level, reasonable, right? But for the actual, competitive pros, you got to step up your game.
And so Sam knows he has his work cut out for him. As lean as he was for this competition, this was at the amateur level. Every competitor that he's now going to compete against is a former champion. All of these guys know that they need to bring it. If you're off by even 1%, do you know what happens? Well, ask Wesley Vissers. You go from being the Arnold Classic champion to moving well out of the top 3. For Sam to move up, he needs to not only add 10 pounds of muscle, he needs to bring the shreds. The glutes, they need to be etched in stone. And so I do know he loves his cardio, but here's the thing. If you bulk up to 280 and drop down to 227, that is 53 pounds. That's too much. And so what I tell classic physique competitors, bikini competitors, and so on, you shouldn't be more than 15% above your stage weight. And so if he has to compete at 227 pounds, you go 227 times 1.15. Okay, you can do that with your calculator. You can ask ChatGPT. It works out to 261. And so Sam should be able to bulk up to 261 pounds and compete at 227. If he, in fact, carbs up and is 232 pounds on stage, he can add 5 pounds. But you get the picture. there's no reason for Sam to have to bulk up to past 15% body fat in order to put on muscle. And if he does thinking, well, it's going to help me put on more muscle, well, the problem is when you diet down for 5 months, you're going to lose some of that muscle, or at least suffer that much more to get ready for competition. And so if Sam gains less weight in the off season, it'll be easier for him to diet down, and that makes it easier both on the body as well as the mind.
So if you were curious, do I plan on competing again? Yeah, damn freaking right.
Is he competing again? Yes, absolutely. And considering that Sam has competed and won in the Arnold Classic, do you know what that gives him? It gives him a buy into competing at next year's Arnold Classic in the pro ranks. And so, what better competition than for Sam to make his pro debut at the Arnold Classic in his hometown? I mean, why would he not compete there? He can be a guest speaker as he did this year. He can drive to the competition. It's perfect. It's the perfect storm. And so Sam, in 1 year, I do believe he'll have no trouble adding 10 pounds of muscle and returning to the competition and battling it out with the best athletes in the world.
Now I can be 227. Or if I do like an inversion table and try to stretch myself out, I could maybe be on check-in day like an extra half-inch taller, maybe even be 234.
Now, Sam is speaking of perhaps he can get on an inversion table to gain a half-inch height. It's not going to work. If he were right at the limit, perhaps off by a 1/4 inch max, he could perhaps stretch out and gain that 1/4 inch. But seeing as he's only 5'11.5", he's not going to be able to stretch his body out enough to make the 6-foot+ weight limit.
So I definitely want to make use of a long off-season, potentially a few bulking and mini cutting phases to try to build up close to that 10 pounds and then see where I stand with a bit of extra muscle.
And so Sam will bulk up, then do a mini cut, bulk up again, followed by another mini cut. Now, I would suggest he simply bulks up and main gains. I don't believe it's extra beneficial to bulk and cut in comparison to bulking to a healthy body fat percentage and main gaining and putting on muscle from there. Remember, it's up to Sam. There's several different methods to get you the same results.
2 days after the show is my puffiest, holding on to the most wateriest kind of look. So I'm a little extra soft in the face.
And so again, puffiness of the face, looking your softest. This is not an essential part of the process. Many people think you need to have this. If you follow the competition and eat healthy, you won't have this difficulty. And what I tell people, the hardest part of the diet, it's not leading up to the competition, it's as soon as it's over. The day after the competition, when you've reintroduced carbs, sugars, and so on, your body is now craving them. You don't have a competition coming up to keep that willpower at bay.
I'm way more kind of connected, like on the same wavelength with the guys where they tell me, dude, Sam, look at this. And they flip their phone around. And it's them 1 year ago, or like however long ago. He's like, yeah, after I started listening, you talk about the cardio and the calories. You know, this was me.
And so as much as Sam's channel is about putting on muscle, bulking and cutting and so on, what makes him the happiest is seeing the weight loss transformation stories that his fans have shown him. Same for Coach Greg. Many people saying, look at me, look at the difference you've made. I've lost 100 pounds. I bought your cookbook. I've watched your channel. It's a wonderful feeling. If you're interested, Sam, as well as everyone else, consider using Turk Builder Max. It's authentic from Uzbekistan. It's not the copycat plant from China. You get what you pay for. And if you're interested, code Greg, 15% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you liked it. Don't forget about the Seco protein bars, the various pre-workouts, creatine. We have all the top level supplements, GO2 Max for those of you who are trying to maximize your cardio, your endurance, your recovery. Get to the website. And until next time, I am out.